So now it's time for questions, and I would welcome any questions from the audience. I've got my own questions, but please come forward with your question. Anyone? Okay, I've got the obvious question. For stealth technology, let's say for submarines, do people use this kind of foam or bubble-like metamaterials?
No. There is no application for at the moment, and well, in fact, we don't know why, because we work with the solid foam. I mean, they come from an industrial partner, foam partners, and they use the foam where removing the membrane. They don't want the membrane, and now they know that they can have another kind of application, but at the moment, it's not. They don't use it, and but this kind of foam exists in the industrial process, but maybe for the application, submarine application or something like that, there is I don't know. They have some lot of problem with the materials they can use. So they prefer something more solid and.
Okay, so I think that Emile wants to ask a question.
Yes, thank you very much for the wonderful talk. My question relates to the very first slide where you have this beautiful picture of a foam.
Yep.
And which is something I, for example, notice when I play with bubbles. Whenever you join two bubbles, then the interface is almost like a flat flat surface. And here we see it quite a display. The interface between bubbles, in fact, it's a flat surface, and it looks very much like a Voronoi tessellation.
Yes. I'm not sure to understand the question.
But in so that was a comment. But the question is, in some of the slides that you showed, the bubbles were still shown round and sort of.
Yes. Is this one, for example?
Yeah, it's this guy, and
it's just an illustration because it's never like that.
So it's always by a flat interface.
Yeah. Because if you look here, it is a glass, a beer glass. You goes the transition between the bubbly liquids and the liquid foam is very straight. So just when the bubble are in contact, just after the equilibrium system is with film to create films. You cannot have bubbles of air in liquids in contact without a film. Just after the connection between the bubble, the flat film is formed.
I mentioned
it is the equilibrium, the hydrodynamic equilibrium.
So I mentioned the Voronoi tessellation because then you can do easy statistics on these cells.
Yeah, of course.
For example, this is the way to calculate the Gibbs measure for to quantify the Gibbs measure for this kind of systems.
Yes.
So you do a histogram over all these different polyhedra. These polyhedra, in fact,
we didn't try, but it can. Yeah, it can be for sure. Yeah.
Okay, excellent. Any more questions from the audience? This could be on the theoretical side or the more practical side.
I have a question.
Yeah, sure, Fernando.
Yeah, so did you try to see how the viscosity of the fluid influenced the measurements?
Yes, we try. We try, in fact, not only the viscosity, but also we change the surfactant. The surfactant stabilizes the foam, and it's very important in this kind of system. And so we change the viscoelasticity of the interface and the viscoelasticity of the bulk, because inside the channel, that you can have a viscoelasticity in bulk, in volume. So we change it, but interestingly, it changed almost nothing. It changed a little bit for the position of the resonance, but very slightly. And that's the reason why we try. For example, I say quickly that for the shaving foam, we don't know why, but we don't have the same behavior. And this is a real interrogation, because we try to change the physical chemistry to have something very close to the physical chemistry of a shaving foam, and we don't have the same behavior. Maybe it's caused by the polymer, the very complex polymer that stabilizes the foam. And that the interface becomes very rigid and elastic. But maybe if we build, I don't know, we obtain a soft solid foam with elastic membranes, maybe we can have a behavior more similar.
I think that Rock wants to ask a question. Please come forward with your question, Rock.
Hello. I just have a question about, it's page 32, actually. You said trap acoustic energy. By trapping acoustic energy, are we talking about localizing the energy, or so it's...
Not localizing, but dissipated inside the structure, inside the whole structure.
Okay, it's dissipated inside the whole structure, not inside the bubble. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
So the structure seems to have a big capacity to absorb.
Yeah, it's amazing. If you do an explosion inside a liquid foam, it's amazing, because it changes everything.
So perhaps it's the entropy of this thing must be.
Maybe.
So foams and sponges, are they related? And
sponges is the foam with open pores.
And bones, I will
it's bones.
think of them as sponges, some sort of sponge.
Yeah, it's with a rigid skeleton, very rigid skeleton.
So in some sense, nature found this structure after millions of evolution, so it has to be special.
In fact, the nature found the way to these frogs. They put the eggs. They make the foam with their legs, and they put the eggs inside the foam to protect from vibration, thermal insulation.
That's right, because on this
nature doesn't need us.
The shuttle, this rocket, the reusable rocket, they had to have these insulating tiles, and they were made out of foam. And they are saying these foams could be glowing on one side, and you could put your hand on the inside, and the foam was just 2 inches thick. That's amazing.
Excellent. Are there any more questions? Any question would be valuable.
Well, how you commercialize this? Can you make clothes? Better clothes, better.
We don't. We try to talk with industrial, but at the moment they are not. Maybe because the foam exists with the process and the foam we study, but foam with elastic membrane doesn't exist, and we still work with Vipre and Grencan to elaborate this kind of foam, and it's very hard. It's very complicated. The process to do it is very complicated.
So you describe the very interesting process where you inject from two sides the liquid and the gas. Now you didn't say where it comes out.
I separated the syringe and and I have the foam. I just push one syringe to another, and the liquid and gas are shared inside the junction, and at the end you separate the syringe and you have the foam.
So do you go back and forth?
Yeah.
Or back and forth, and then at some point nothing will happen, and that's good.
And in 20 seconds you have a foam.
So you mentioned that you can treat these kinds of soft metamaterials as an effective medium with a negative effective density. So can you envisage to make a lens?
Maybe with but with a liquid one it's not very useful, I think. So if we obtain the soft foam, maybe the soft membrane foam, maybe it could be, yeah, of course.
So, and what is the connection with actually the work of Thomas Brunet? Because you mentioned, you know.
Yeah, I mentioned the work because he do a very beautiful I don't know, schematical. They explain very well, the illustration explain very well for me what is the effective negative density and compressibility, and the link with the work of Thomas is obvious because they look at a particle with a resonant property also, and isotropic also.
And I guess also that you are aware of the works of the team of Habiba Mari and Agnès Morel,
Yeah.
So can you just quickly comment on that? Is there a homogenization model really explaining also what you've done? Or,
I don't know.
You haven't tried to? Okay.
No.
Because I've seen this beautiful formula, you know, that you have in your FISREV letter. Has anyone linked it to, you know, their homogenization model?
We want in this work there's a lot of models for porous materials, for acoustic porous material in a lot of complex system, and our idea was to look for a toy model that we can explain with and understand what happens at the level of the microstructure. And so maybe with time it will be great to compare it with more theoretical approach, and look if we at the beginning we start with a model more like a Waterman and Trail and model like that, but it was very we were uncomfortable to do the link with the physical mechanism.
Okay.
So but I think it will, of course, it will be interesting to now to go to this approach.
And I'm aware also that some people have done some PhD thesis on this kind of champagne, you know, or Budweiser or whatever bubble, you know, media. So is it connected to what you're doing somehow, or are you? I mean, are you aware of this work?
About what? About?
I mean, in terms of the physical model, you know, in terms of, finding some similar effective properties, or No, they did not look at the...
No, I don't
No.
see. No, in fact, there is very, very few work on
Okay.
this kind of systems, and I don't know why. Because maybe it's because it's they are hydrodynamic system, and it's an obligation to talk with hydrodynamic research, so people who know very well the hydrodynamics of the systems, because it's if you don't know the structure and how it reacts in time, you cannot use the good parameter.
I think the team of Cédric Payan as well has looked at this kind of, you know, they make some kind of metamaterials. They have these bubbles, you know, that pops up regularly and so on. You are aware of this work?
No,
you know?
No, I don't know.
They create this kind of.
What is the name?
Cédric Payan in LMA, in Laboratoire Mécanique Acoustique. You came across their work, no?
Okay, no, I have to look. Okay.
No? Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
It's very interesting because, I mean, you know, it's not fluid mechanics, it's not solid mechanics, it's in between. So it looks like, yeah, something very unusual.
Yeah.
Okay, so any more questions? Yeah, Emil, please do.
The foams do have some response to shear.
Yes. We don't have make some experiments with shear waves, but there is one beautiful, in fact, two beautiful work on that. One made with by Reinhard Euler and Sylvie Cohen-Haddad. They pull a pal, inside a shave, a foaming bath, and they look at the propagation of shear waves at the surface and inside the bulk. And they look at the propagation of shear waves, but I don't know why they stop this this study, but they have a beautiful paper on that. And there is another one from Anne Le Goff. She pulled a bead, a heavy bead, on foaming bath and on shaving foam, in fact. And they look at there is some very, very fast relay, super shear relay waves. They call like that because they don't know they are like relay waves, but not exactly. They go very fast, and also stop the research. But it's very interesting, and I think there is a lot of things to look at in this area.
Yes, because under very strong shear, this will not be brittle. I think they will just glide and rearrange. Maybe.
Yeah, exactly. That was the explanation for the super shear waves, how the bubble change position and rearrange.
Rearrange.
Yeah.
So it makes it, but it has to be liquid, so the facets can glide. If you make that solid foam or elastic foam that you're mentioning, some of these properties.
It's more like it is at the. It's like not like solid liquid foams. It's very interesting because in this case, I think it's more like grain. You know.
Yes, that's right, like grain.
Yeah.
But the facets, they need to be able to reconfigure and reconfigure themselves. Which is which
again, you have to understand to know the hydrodynamic of this kind of structure, how the film change the topological rearrangement.
this, if anybody is curious, Jean Bélizard is focusing now on liquids, precisely on these Voronoi tessellations, and he's proposing precisely to calculate the Gibbs measure of this kind of system. So if that's done, then you can see if a foam is different from the other, of their different classes of foams by just mapping this.
Okay.
Cool.
Cool.
So
yes.
No, it's lovely. It's lovely. Any more questions in the audience, please, people? It's a unique opportunity to talk to Dr. Pierre. You know, use this great opportunity. Yes, please, Bogdan.
Have you thought if you can get a negative Poisson coefficient with this form?
Negative? Sorry.
Poisson.
Poisson coefficient.
We
in any case,
I don't know why we stopped it. We look at the mechanical properties, but at the beginning of the work, but I don't know. I can't remember why we stopped this. Because we look at the in the static regime or something like that, and we are looking for something dynamical. So.
I'm just wondering. I don't see.
No. I have no.
The metamaterials, but I just wondering if you can get such
auxetic-like behavior. Maybe like cork. Maybe zero. No. The Poisson ratio, it would be like cork, perhaps. No, like what? It would be like what, actually?
I don't know. I remember with Valentin Leroy to ask about this question, but
yeah, it would be interesting.
We have a lot of things to understand, and in fact, the toy models that we build for the liquid foam doesn't work for our solid foam, and we don't know why, and we explore that fact.
So what will happen if you freeze this foam all of a sudden? Will it survive?
We want to do that. In fact, we want to have in the best the best experiment will be to have a polymer foam liquid at the beginning, and we polymerize the system, and we look at the acoustic propagation during the solidification.
Oh, that would be
yeah. This is the experiment that we want since 5 or 6 years ago. It was in my CNRS proposal. But at the moment, we don't have this kind of foam. Because the film breaks during the solidification most of the time.
Yeah, that's interesting. That's very interesting.
So, if we don't have any more questions, we shall thank our speaker again for this wonderful talk.
Thank you.
And, well, like every week, we, hope you stay safe, and we will be very happy to welcome you back next week. Bogdan, next week with our speaker, Agnès Morel, I think, and Kim Pham.
Yes, and Kim.
And so it's a very good transition, because these two people have actually worked on a similar topic to Juliette Pierre, but from an asymptotic homogenization perspective. And that would be really lovely for people, I think, to see the other side. It's a two-sided coin. Okay, thank you very much, everyone, for staying with us until now, and Thank you so much, Dr. Pierre, for this fantastic talk.
Thank
Bye-bye,
you.
everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.